Okay, let's go over the software setup for our moonshots library. So this year we're working on the IO software package, and so let's get started. The first thing you need to do is make sure you bookmark this website. This is something we're going to keep coming back to again and again and again. Note the website. I posted it up a bunch of times. Bookmark this thing so you can keep coming back here. So the first thing that we'll do is go to the Java programming link and note that we have to install a whole bunch of stuff. We're also going to likely have to install Java on the RoboRio itself, so we're going to need to follow this step as well. So start by installing Eclipse and Java. So Java can be a bit of a tricky install for Windows users especially, because you have to add Java to your path. That can be tricky for some new users, but if you look for Java JDK NetBeans download, this installs NetBeans, which is a different IDE than Eclipse. It's something that we're not going to use. However, I've always had a lot of good luck with the JDK NetBeans installation bundle for Windows, and when I install that, it modifies my path for me. It installs everything really nicely, what I find. So give that a try to install Java and all of the required files. This package is great, and that'll get you started. And then after you've done that, go back and install Eclipse, and that way Java will be set up properly, and then Eclipse will detect the Java installation that you have, and we'll reference that. Okay, this one's a biggie too. The FRC update. This is something that we need not only for our own computers. WPI, this university, releases a software library required for all programming for the FRC RoboRio. So we need to install the WPI library. Now this thing comes with more than just that. It comes with the driving station and LabVIEW, which is a visual processing language, in order for the robot to see on its own. We're not investigating that at the moment, but we do need to install the driver station and utilities to control the robot using our controller stick. So all of this needs to be installed on whatever computer we're using as our driving machine. And so we have computers available. We just need to make sure we pick one out that we're going to continue to use for that purpose. So that's no problem. Okay, now lastly, after we've followed the installation for Java, then Eclipse, and then WPI library, now we install Strongback. So Google Strongback FRC or GitHub, and you'll find this library. And there are some great instructions here and a whole little manual that Mr. Randall Hosh, a very nice guy, helped us out big time last year. He's published a manual about this, how to use Strongback, and so this is very, very helpful. So do try to make some time. You're going to get stuck on this. Try to make some time to read this documentation and look at some of the examples and the installation instructions here. They've taken time to write this stuff out. We owe it to them to look it over before we inevitably pepper them with questions. If you already have a Strongback installed, we're going to need to use the Strongback command line interface client, which is cool. I'm kind of geeking out about this. This is a neat little addition. So we need to install this guy. So I'm just going ahead and installing the stuff into the proper directory, making sure it's all there. Shabam! It's installed. But we can see that if I use the command Strongback releases, I can see I have an old one installed. It identifies what directory it's in, but I need to follow the instructions to upgrade it. Okay, now we're cooking. So we got the right version installed now. Okay, I am now going to try to update the Strongback library in the IO project. So I'm just following these instructions here. Okay, so I can see IO with strong back. Now I'm going through the properties here. I'm trying to see if I need to do anything on this end. I don't see anything particular about the version, so I think it's alright as long as I've run the command line to upgrade. So I think we're okay, but I'll have to keep an eye on this. What I do need to remember is when we're ready to deploy the code, and when we have the build option, and there's going to be some, man, it's been a while. Oh, right, cool. We have deploy, and so the deploy here is, how do I set that up? Okay, right. So we set up a custom ant build to use Strongback's deployment and push the code to the Robo Rio. So I assume this is going to be in the instructions. One second. Okay, so they're just saying just use the console command. So that's totally possible, and I know there's just some way where we set this up to basically do the same thing. So it's right there, and so clean deploy. I bet I could make one that'll do just this. Let's see, new configuration, and I'll call it clean deploy, and the build file, oh well, what was the build file here? So it's just the workspace for IO and build. Okay. Well, let's see here. That work? The build file, but we don't have a build file. Okay, so I'm going to need some help on this. In the meanwhile, I'm just going to scrap it, and when we would like to deploy, I'll simply use the command line to deploy it appropriately. But until then, we don't have any classes, so we need to build some of the basic materials here. Yeah, we don't have really anything. I'm concerned that this project may not have been established properly, and yeah, concerned here. Well, if I'm really concerned, I can scrap this project and rebuild it using Strongback's command line and see if that might help anything. Don't know if it will though. Okay, so I did scrap it, I deleted it, I ran a new project over again. Now I'm going to file, import existing projects into workspace. That's correct. And now I'm just going to browse for Google Drive, and then Moonshots folder, software, IO, this guy. Yep, it sees the project, super duper. I think that's all I need. Cool. And it sees the Strongback library. Yes, and it has the build stuff that I was missing. Cool. Yeah, and it has all this content. Okay, and my start file. Well, alright, we now have this set up, ready to go. We can push some basic stuff. We need to set up some of the basic control styles that we're going to be using. All of that is, we can look at last year's example and the Strongback help. So now, from now on, we can start looking at this kind of this kind of example. And so, should be set. Let me know if you have any questions.